Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Speedcast coverage of this year's National Autosport Association National Championships. It's going to be a fantastic race here at Mid-Ohio. H1 green. Landrum, your pole sitter, did not get a great start. Good run for Martinez. He's going to look to the inside. Drabowski coming up. We have a new leader, Mark Bennett. And both gets together. Evasive maneuvers. Rocco's your national champion, Bernardo Martinez. Joe Fryman, Carl Troy, Chris Griswold, Joe Moser, Jeff Birch.
The 2008 National Autosport Association Honda Challenge National Championship is brought to you by Toyo Tires, driven to perform, and by Passport Performance.
Welcome to the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the 2008 National Autosport Association Honda Challenge National Championships, presented by Passport Performance and Toyo Tires. I'm Kevin Arnett, and I'm here in the booth with Clark Camber. Clark, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're about to watch?
Sure thing. Honda Challenge is a touring car division for Hondas and Acuras in the National Autosport Association. Honda Challenge 1 and Honda Challenge 4 are the classes we'll be focusing on today. Honda Challenge 1 is a little bit higher state of tune, a little bit more modification, faster cars. They'll be starting up front. And then separation and Honda Challenge 4 will start. These cars are closer to stock, some modifications, but a little bit more affordable and a little bit less work done to the cars. I should also mention that Honda Challenge 2 will also be on the track, although we won't be focusing on them today.
Okay, well, let's take a look at last year's race. Kevin Helms started on the pole in Honda Challenge 1 alongside Bernardo Martinez, and Helms jumped into the lead while Martinez slipped back to third behind Chris Drabowski. Helms led early, but by lap 6, Martinez had closed the gap, passing Drabowski for second on the back straight and doing the same thing to Helms one lap later. Bernardo Martinez cruised home to a dominant victory. Kevin Helms held on to second, and Chris Drabowski came home third. In HC4, it was Colin Botha on the pole, starting ahead of the father-son team of Robert and Joe Moser. But Robert Moser slipped around the outside in turn number 4 as Botha worked to hold off Joe Moser on the inside. Just a lap later, Botha slid off track, exiting 11, handing second place over to the younger Moser. Robert Moser went unchallenged until the last lap when Joe slipped into the lead. At the line, it was Joe Moser, followed by Robert, and a hard-charging Benny Pecure.
So cars are on track. They're going to be lining up on the front straightaway for one of my favorite parts of the NASA Championships. They're going to be doing a standing start on the front straightaway. See the Honda Challenge 1 cars streaming through turn 11 right here as they warm up.
How many of these classes do the standing start, Clark?
This is actually kind of a unique thing. There's, I believe, 1 or 2 other classes that do it, but every year Honda Challenge does it. I just love to watch the standing start. It's kind of an unusual thing. You don't see that very much in the United States.
Here we see them coming to the line. They'll come to a stop there. Let's take a look at the lineup. Graham Downey on the pole. Jeremy Croisset will be outside. Chris Fries is third. Kevin Helms fourth. And Brian Schanfeld will start fifth.
And in Honda Challenge 2, Richard Hunter's on pole. John Reamer outside pole. Shane Lovely third. Carl Condor fourth. And Eric Olson will start fifth.
Taking a look at Honda Challenge 4, Manny Coats on the pole. Benny Pecure sits second. Robert Moser will start from third. Jeremy Lucas fourth. And William Fee will start from the fifth position. We'll look for the yellow lights to come on, the top middle of your screen there. When the yellow lights come on, we'll start to count down. And we'll get this race underway in just a minute. Get all 3 yellow lights, and then 2, 1, and then we'll go green. There's all the yellows. 2, 1. And we're underway. Green flag is out.
So the Honda Challenge 1 and 2 cars will go through turn 1 and into turn 2. And we'll watch them as they come down into turn 2. And then we'll jump back to Honda Challenge 4, which is lining up right now. Looks like Jeremy Croisset got a really good jump in that CRX.
How critical is this start on this race, Clark?
I think obviously it's a long race. These guys, and here we have Honda Challenge 1 or Honda Challenge 4 leaving the line. As I was saying, it's a long race, and certainly you want to get in a good position on the start. You want to put yourself in a position where you're not going to get in a wreck, you're not going to get caught out mid-pack, and you can see these top 3 or 4 guys are able to sort of break away and get in line and make sure that they have their tires warmed up, make sure that they're not going to get in a wreck in this opening lap.
And Jeremy Croisset has jumped out into the lead. Graham Downey second, and number 117 car Chris Fries sits in third right now.
Yeah, Croisset, got a great jump from outside pole. He was very quick in the rain. It rained earlier this week. It remains to be seen how quick he's going to be in the dry. Drop back to Honda Challenge 4 as they enter turn 4.
3 abreast as they come down. It's Coats, Pecure, and Moser all battling for the lead there.
Yeah, that was tight. It looked like Moser tried to get around the inside of Coats, and Pecure was able to flip around the outside going into that corner.
Pecure looked like he was a little loose through that corner.
And great run for Stepaniev, too. He started dead last, and he's already up to 4th.
Stepaniev, the fast qualifier from Saturday. They head down into Thunder Valley now. This is kind of the end of the first lap, heading into turns 10 and 11.
And a pass for the lead in Honda Challenge 1. Looks like Downey got around Croisset coming out of turn 1. Croisset's going to challenge going into turn 2, up on the curve, going to try and make it happen. See if he can make it stick coming out of 2.
Yeah, side by side, looks like they may be rubbing a little paint there, coming to the back straight. 3 abreast now.
3 wide through the kink. And that is Chris Fries that slipped into the lead. 3 wide again going into turn 4. Croisset goes on the inside, and he'll go back into first. Fries fighting back on the outside. Looks like they touch a little bit.
Graham Downey shoots on the inside to take over the top spot.
Man, this is great racing. 3 abreast going into 6.
Oh, and Kevin Helms out of shape. And he's hard into the tire barrier there between turns 5 and 6. Kevin Helms sits precariously out into the racetrack now.
That is a tough break for Helms. Helms was very quick earlier in the week, multi-time winner this year, and I know he had high hopes to do well this year again.
And then we see the H4s now with Robert Moser out in front, and Stepanin has moved to second.
Yeah, Moser and Stepanin were both able to get around Benny Pecure, so Moser into the lead. Moser actually led most of last year, as we saw earlier, and just lost the lead really on the last lap to his son.
Well, let's take a look at that Helms wreck as he came off of 4. We'll see what happened to him. Got into 5 and 6 and got out of shape.
So here we are on board with Kevin Helms. He's one of our onboard cameras this weekend. And it looks like he tried to go around the outside of Croisset. Tough place to get out in the gray there. It just drops a wheel off their car hooks and hard into the wall.
Did him and Croisset get together there, or it was just tight racing coming to that corner?
It certainly doesn't look like it. We'll take a look here again in slow-mo. Yeah, it looks like Croisset may have squeezed him a little bit. I'm not sure Jeremy even knew Helms was there. And certainly anytime you get outside in the gray like that, there isn't very much grip. And it looks like...
Oh, and there Croisset's off the track. That's down in China Beach, I believe, into the sand.
Yeah, see if he gets stuck here.
That's a tough place to be. Looks like he'll keep it moving.
That's a lucky break for Croisset. It's so easy to get stuck in China Beach, and then you just have to wait out the race stuck in the sand.
Meanwhile, out in front, Graham Downey looks like he's extended that lead just a little bit over Jonathan Maris now running in second. They head into Thunder Valley.
Yeah, I'm board with Chris Fries. Chris having a great run this weekend as well in that Honda Prelude. And here we have a challenge for the lead in HC4. Stepanin trying to get around the outside of Moser.
Robert Moser, the driver out of the Midwest region, holding off Stepanin as they come into turns 5 and 6.
And this is kind of an interesting thing in HC4. Really the preferred car, the car that most of these guys in HC4 run is the Honda CRX, which is that little hatchback that we see Pecure and also Moser running. But Stepanian is actually in a 1992 Acura Integra, which is a heavier car, but it also has more horsepower. So Stepanian able to make up a lot of ground. We see he's really quick here in 11. Makes up a lot of ground down the back straightaway, and we see Moser having to run a defensive line on the inside to try and hold him off so that he can get back in the twisty sections in the back and try and pull a gap.
Moser maintains that lead as they come and completely lap, head down the front straight into turn number 1. This division real popular out in Southern California. A lot of guys out there running this HC4 class.
Yeah, we have a couple SoCal competitors here today. Pecure and Manny Coats are both from Southern California, both very competitive out there. And
Stepanian as well.
Yeah, that's right, Stepanian as well.
Through the keyhole one more time. Moser holding off Stepanian, and Stepanian looks like he's going to make a run for the lead here.
And this is key. Stepanian got a really good run out of the keyhole. Down the back straightaway, has the inside advantage now. Moser won't be able to block him on the inside.
Moser into the back of Stepanian, and both of them into the wall on the back straight. What did Moser? Was he setting up for the right-hander coming off the kink there, or what? But he cut behind him, and the two got together.
What a strange situation. You know, these guys did get together earlier in the week. We know there was a little bit of bad blood between them. We'll take a look at the replay now. Looks like Stepanian gets the run. Moser tries to cross over and jump to the inside. And it may be that Ito just got on the brakes a little bit earlier than Robert expected. They were so close, and they touch.
Tough to place blame on that one, and that'll put Coats out in front of Pecure now in the HC4 class.
Yeah, so that effectively eliminates two of our most serious competitors in HC4, and Manny Coats up front.
Manny Coats will come down in complete lap number 4 as the leader. Benny Pecure second. Jeremy Lucas and John Howard rounding out the field in the HC4 class.
And Lucas and Howard, we haven't talked about them much, but they're having a great race back there in 34. Now back to HC1, and it looks like Brian Shanfield is in second place.
Graham Downey extending his lead just a little bit. Shanfield has moved past Maris, and those two do battle.
Shanfield big time sideways off at turn 9. Car unloads there coming up over the crest of that hill, and very easy to lose control of the back end over the hill. We see Shanfield getting sideways there. It looks like they both got around Chris Freeze while we were taking a look at HC4 action.
Shanfield, another driver with an Acura under him, a 07 Acura actually.
And Shanfield was the last year's HC2 champion. He actually works for Honda Research and Development, so he gets looks like a big wreck on the front straightaway.
I believe that's David Roush and Keith Gillespie involved in that one as they came off of turn 13, headed for the front straight. A hard crash there.
Yeah, we'll wait if we can. We'll see if we can get another. Here we go. That's is
Keith Gillespie there.
That's Gillespie.
The 24 car.
Of course, yellow. And we'll have to look at the replay. It looked like Gillespie got loose, got in the inside wall, and then crossed the track right in front of Roush, and there was a hard hit between him and Roush.
And there you see the double yellow flags indicating the full course yellow.
So we'll take a look here. Oh, it's Lang getting into Gillespie. Lang not leaving Gillespie enough room as they come through the final corner. Gillespie across the track into the wall.
Hard hit into the driver's side on Roush.
That is an unfortunate situation. They were having a good race. I'm sure frustration for both Gillespie and Roush.
There's Gillespie getting out of the car. It looks like he's okay. And there's Roush. It's hard to tell if he's disoriented, disappointed, or
I think he's just frustrated.
Disgusted, perhaps.
All right, so still under caution here. Looks like we'll be going green this lap on the back straightaway. This is kind of an unusual feature of Mid-Ohio because the front straightaway is so short. We typically go green on the back stretch to allow more of the field to be in a straight line and lined up when we go green.
Let's take a look at the rundown. In first place in the HC1, Graham Downey continues to lead the way. Brian Shanfeld is second. Jonathan Maris sits third, Chris Fries is fourth, and Matt Lang holds the fifth position in the HC1 class.
And in HC4, we only have 4 cars left. Manny Coats leads, Benny Pecure second, Jeremy Lucas is third, and John Howard is fourth.
And they'll roll through the keyhole, and then they'll be picking up the start here on the back straight, as you mentioned, Clark. Now, why is it that they start on the back straight instead of the front straight on this course?
Well, as I said, the real problem with Mid-Ohio is the front straightaway is so short, and we have green flag out. The front straightaway is so short that a huge chunk of the field is actually back in the carousel when they go green if they restart in the front straightaway. So for safety's sake, to sort of help make sure there are no more accidents on the restart, they typically start in the back straightaway.
Downey and Schanfeld now battle for the lead. Schanfeld once again with that more horsepower, but Downey pulls away just a little bit through the S's.
Oh, and it looks like that's Fries that's off.
Chris Fries has crashed. That's the same place that Kevin Helms found the wall there, off of turn 5 into 6.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if Fries got into the wall there. We'll have to take a look at the replay. I assume we'll have that up in a minute and see whether Chris Fries is going to be able to continue. A tough break for him. Really good run this weekend, and unfortunate to slide off the track like that.
Meanwhile, Graham Downey, and there's Schanfeld once again getting sideways as he heads off of turn number 12, it is, I believe, coming into the front straight now.
And that is going to allow Maris to slip up the inside. Maris challenging for second, side by side into turn 1. Looks like Maris is going to take away second place from Schanfeld.
But it's Graham Downey out in front, now to the halfway point of this race.
So Maris now is going to try and run down Downey, see if he can work together with Schanfeld a little bit. That's the big key for these guys. Downey's looking in his mirrors, and I'm sure he's hoping that these guys continue to battle it out.
And there's
Fries. Looks like Fries is going to go behind the wall. Here's the replay. So Fries tries to tuck up the inside of the 727 of Maris, and just gets kicked off in the grass, and the car just pushes off the outside and right into the tire wall.
Gets the tire barrier.
You know, as a driver, you get off in the grass like that, and there's just nothing you can do. The car's just going to go where it's going to go, and you can pull the emergency brake and turn the wheel and curse, and it's just going to go straight.
There you see Kevin Helms going by with his passenger side door flopping in the breeze. That must be a result of the crash that he was in a little bit earlier.
Yeah, as soon that wreck broke the door latch. Now I'm on board with Kevin Helms. As soon as that broke the door latch and the door's just been flopping around, hopefully NASA will allow him to continue. I don't think it's
got to be a little disconcerting to be taking a corner and see your right-hand door fly open, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time I see it pop open, that's what I think. I'm not sure I could drive with that flying open like that. And you can see Croisette. Croisette's been smoking a little bit the whole race, but it's becoming heavier now. Helms just behind Croisette, and so we'll have to watch Croisette. It looks like oil smoke. Hopefully he'll be able to keep that engine running for the remainder of the race.
Did that have anything to do with him heading off in the gravel there, or was that something that he had a problem from the onset?
I suppose it could have been. I thought I noticed smoke even on the first lap before he went off, but certainly it's possible that flying through gravel like that knocked the oil pan loose, something like that, and now it looks like the oil's just getting on the exhaust. So hopefully Croisette has enough oil in that machine to keep it running.
Looking at things from Jeremy Croisette's point of view now, I think he sits in 6th at this point. John Olt right in front of him, and I believe it's Matt Lang then.
No, and hard hit.
John Olt is spun out.
Croisette and Alt get together. That was unexpected. Looked like Croisette had a little bit of a run, but thought better of it, was going to tuck back in. And then and another hit for Croisette. You can hear the thump there.
Banged in the side from somebody. See if we can get a replay on that one.
So I believe we're going to be going to the replay from Kevin Helms' perspective, who's sitting just behind Croisette.
It's Croisette up on the right hand in the red car there.
And just a little bit of brake lock up from the right front of Croisette's car.
Did Olt come over? Did Croisette get in his way? Hard to say once again. Is it just a racing deal there? And here, I believe it must be Helms. Yeah, Helms into the side of Croisette there.
Helms just dives to the inside. Croisette goes for the apex. two cars in one spot doesn't fit, and the two of them get together. I really think that Croisette may be having some braking problems in that machine. He didn't look like he was attempting a pass, looked like he was going to tuck back in. I'm sure that's what Alt thought. Alt drove the line just like he should have, and right at the end there, Croisette locking up the right front and pushing into the back of Alt, and unfortunately Alt gets taken out.
And meanwhile, it's Graham Downey continuing to lead here in the HC1 class in Mid-Ohio course.
We'd like to thank Hasport Performance and Toyo Tires. Hasport Performance, the sponsor of this year's Speedcast of the Honda Challenge race. And we can see Maris is closing up on our leader.
It's kind of surprising to see Maris up there. He didn't impress anybody with his qualifying. The weather was a little iffy on Friday and Saturday. And he was 24th in qualifying on Friday, 21st in qualifying on Saturday, and here he is challenging for the lead. Looking at the HC4s now.
Yeah, and the real key there, Kevin, is I think these guys qualified in the rain both Friday and Saturday. They raced in the rain on Friday. The real key to look at those statistics is that Maris was very competitive in the dry on Saturday's race, qualified in the back, worked his way all the way up to, I believe, 6th. Very competitive lap times in the dry, and Maris obviously has speed in the dry today.
Manny Coats continues to lead the HC4s. Benny Pateur's second. Now John Alt, one of the HC1 drivers we saw involved in an incident just a little bit ago, he's stuck back there with the HC4s. I'm sure he's a bit frustrated wanting to get around them and back up with the HC1s.
Interesting little bit of strategy for Coats and Pateur. You don't want Alt getting in between you and the leader and forcing you to drop back and start racing with other HC1 cars.
Well, it's a much faster car. It would almost seem like these drivers would want to let him go and be out of the way so that they can continue their battle with each other without, this other car in between. And now Maris back in the HC1s challenging for the lead with Graham Downey.
So Maris challenging Downey around the outside, going into turn 4, not able to get it done. Tough to make a pass there. It is doable. You can pass on the outside. Typically what you see is somebody trying to get a good run out of the keyhole and getting the pass done going on the inside of turn 4.
How many places are there realistically to pass on this Mid-Ohio course?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are two, I suppose, easy passing zones, and there are a few more if you want to get a little bit braver. I have seen people pass here going into 11. Obviously, you saw Maris pass Schanfeld going into 1 earlier. But typically, your best bet is either to pass going into turn 2, which we call the keyhole, or going into turn 4 at the end of the back straightaway. And turn 4 is really the safest and best place to pass. And we always say when you go to Mid-Ohio, the guy that gets out of the keyhole the fastest has the best chance of winning the race.
And Downey holding off Maris for the time being. Schanfeld has dropped back a little bit now in that third position, and those three have really distanced themselves from the rest of the field.
Yeah, huge gap there. You can see Maris kind of dodging to the inside and the outside as Downey tries to find a line that keeps Maris behind him going to the keyhole. But Maris with a very good run, he'll go to the inside of Downey going through the kink.
And Maris actually has the lead at this point as they come to the back straight.
Yeah, lead by a nose going into 4. We'll see if he can hang on to it. Downey kind of runs the rim there. They're going to be side by side going into 5. And Downey will hold on to the lead.
It's interesting. I see Downey, as they came through the corner, I saw his brake lights come on. I didn't see Maris. Do these cars all have their brake lights hooked up, or some do and some don't?
Yeah, that's a good question. It looks like some of them don't, because Downey definitely does not. I did notice that Schanfeld had his brake lights on. We see now Maris sliding wide over 9. Gets a little loose as he crests the hill, and that's going to allow Downey to pull away. Maris pushing very hard, trying to make that time back up. But Downey will have about 5 car lengths as they head into the carousel. And that's kind of a classic Mid-Ohio move. There's a little bit more banking on the outside of turn 4 than there is on the inside. And it's pretty typical for the guy on the inside. You think you have the pass made. You turn in a little bit early, maybe overslow a little bit more than you should. And the guy on the outside just runs the rim and passes you right back, gets the inside advantage going into 5.
Back to the HC4s where Manny Coats continues to lead. Benny Pecure looks like he's pulled up on him a little bit. May want a challenge for the lead here.
Yeah, Benny Pecure looking very racy here as they're catching some of the slower HC2 and HC1 cars. And this may be Pecure's best chance to get around Coat as they're working their way through some of this traffic.
These two drivers very familiar with each other, both out of the Southern California region.
Yeah, and in fact, these guys, interestingly enough, are on the same radio frequency for this race. Last year, we saw in the highlights from last year that the Mosers, father and son, and we have Kevin Helms is out.
Now Kevin Helms takes that 05 car into the pits.
Tough break for Helms, and Jeremy Croisset is out.
Well, our two on-car cameras both headed for the pits on the same lap, and Croisset finally out of oil, or the engine gave up. He's still under power, apparently.
Yeah, it's still running, but I can hear it knocking. I assume the bottom end, just ran out of oil. The bottom end is starting to go. Probably spun a bearing in the bottom end, and that engine is rattling. Anyways, I was saying Pecure and Coates on the same radio frequency, because last year the Mosers were on the same radio frequency, and they were able to use that to their advantage. Similar to what you hear when some of the NASCAR guys go to Daytona or Talladega. They sort of work together on the same frequency to keep the field behind, and that's what the Mosers did last year. So Pecure and Coates said, hey, this year we can do that, and they are on the same radio frequency now, and you wonder if they've sort of gotten together and decided to take it easy. They have first and second well in hand and not race so hard that they end up taking each other out and throwing that finish away.
I just wonder how that works when it comes down to the last lap. Is it every man for himself at that point, or is there some prior agreement? Did they do a rock, paper, scissors thing and decide who's going to be the winner of this race?
Sure, that's a good question. I know I wouldn't agree to something like that, but maybe these guys are more civilized than I am.
Just 2 laps to go now as they cross the start-finish line one more time. The HC4 is coming to the line at this point.
And you can see, it looks like, I would say that Coates has a little bit more speed in open track. It looks like Pecure is able to close up the gap a little bit when they get in traffic, but Coates, definitely when they're clear, is a little bit quicker. And both of these guys, very competitive. Both of them multiple-time winners this year in the Southern California region, which is ultra-competitive.
Back to the HC1s, and Graham Downey once again headed for Thunder Valley with Jonathan Maris in pursuit, and Schanfeld still sits in third.
Yeah, the gap's sort of opened up. Now it looks like 4 or 5 car lengths between each of these guys. And, this is the time in the race, 2 laps to go. If you've been saving your tires, if you've been saving your brakes, now is the time. Now is the time to push, dig deep, and see if you can catch that guy for a last lap pass. So we'll see if Schanfeld or Maris have anything left for...
The white flags have come out. 1 lap to go.
So Downey will lead him through turn 1. Very fast turn 1. 90 miles an hour. Slides out. Back to the left to set up for turn 2.
Downey just seems very, very smooth in that number 8 car. Seems to be very well handled, under control. Some of the other cars really pushing hard, but Downey just seems to be very smooth in that machine.
Yeah, and Downey has not put a wheel wrong all day. That car was actually the 2006 champion. Downey's never been to Mid-Ohio before, but very competitive here today. And Schanfeld just run the fastest lap that last lap, so Schanfeld might have something for Maris as they go into turn 4.
They do. It does seem to have closed up between those 3 cars.
Yep, gap is closing into 5. Not much room for passing, though, left in this lap. There might be a last-ditch effort, maybe going into turn 11. Maris pushing out, you can tell Maris is just using everything left in that car, and Schanfeld is right there trying to take the position away. Slide over the hill into Thunder Valley. And I would say that Downey has a good lead now. He can relax. Schanfeld about 3 car lengths back from Downey. Sorry, from Maris. And Downey into the final corner of the carousel.
He'll come off of turn 13 here in just a moment. Look down the front straight, and he'll see the checkered flag, and it'll be Graham Downey with the win. Jonathan Maris second, and Brian Schanfeld will get home third. Now we see the HC4s finishing things up on their run. They're over there going into turn 5 and 6 now.
So Manny Coats with a solid lead over Benny Pecure.
Some lap traffic up ahead of them. Let's see if that has an effect on the race. As this not really lap traffic, slower traffic from the other classes in front of them.
And Benny Pecure really pushing out of turn 9, drops the wheel off. Don't want to do that, Benny. Don't throw away on the last lap. So they will work their way through turn 11. Manny Coats has the lead well in hand. Benny Pecure solidly in second. And Manny Coats will cruise home to a victory here. Great drive by Manny Coats.
He comes to the start-finish line, takes the checkers. Benny Pecure second.
And we'll wait here for third and fourth in that class.
Looks like it's going to be Howard and then Lucas rounding out the field.
John Howard will finish third, and Jeremy Lucas will finish fourth in 8-2-4. So great run for everybody. Exciting race. Lots of action. Some wrecks, but come home with 2 new champions.
Let's go now to Kristen Camburn with our winners.
I'm here with 2008 NASA champion for Honda Challenge 1, Graham Downey. Graham, you got off to a little bit of a rough start. Got some people past you in the beginning, but you came back to win it. Tell me about your race.
Well, I had a little bit of a slow start. I got a pass by second place. Coming in as a turn 4, I was moved back to 5th. I'd been passed by a bunch of cars on the straightaway. Luckily for me, they got into contact in turn 4, and I just went on the inside and passed them all, and led the race from lap 1 all the way to the checkered flag. And but I had a lot of pressure from John Maris behind me, and luckily, he's from my area, and he raced me clean and finished 1-2.
So tell me a little bit, is there anybody you'd like to thank for this year for bringing you up here to the podium finish today?
Oh, I mean, I couldn't be here without my family and friends, my shop, Redstone Motors, Black Tracks Performance, Roger Krause Racing, a ton of help from a very good friend of mine, Andre Hartanto, and my girlfriend too, Ashley. She just has been helpful in every way, and my family, my mom, my dad. I mean, I could not be here without them. So they definitely helped me out a ton, and my brother too. He's also from Black Tracks Performance, and he's just the best crew chief ever. So couldn't do it without him.
I'm here with 2008 NASA champion Manny Coats. He's the champion for our Honda Challenge 4 series. Tell me, Manny, I know you started on pole, but you got a little behind, a couple cars past. How'd you get back the lead?
Well, the 2 cars that got by, they got into each other in one of the turns. They went off track, and then from there on I was smooth sailing. I just kind of kept the lead.
Tell me a little bit about the people you'd like to thank. Who helped you get here today to this podium finish?
Well, I'd like to thank NASA first, without them, I've never been here. This has just been a fantastic trip. Everything's been great. The Mid-Ohio track, and my crew, Jeremy Croisette and his team, got the car dialed in really great. I couldn't be happier.
We saw some great Honda Challenge racing today. Now let's have a look at the results.
It was Graham Downey coming home with the win in Honda Challenge 1, followed by Jonathan Maris. Brian Schanfeld was third. John Olt was fourth, and Andrew Lee came home fifth.
In Honda Challenge 2, Walter McKinney was the winner. Richard Hunter came home second. It was Eric Olson finishing third. Shane Lovely fourth, and Alan Ling came home fifth.
In Honda Challenge 4, we saw Manny Coats come home with the win. Benny Pecure finished second. John Howard was third. Jeremy Lucas fourth, and Ido Stepanyan finished fifth.
So on behalf of the National Autosport Association, Hossport Performance, Toyo Tires, and Speedcast TV, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in for the next race of the NASA Championships, the 944 Cup.